The fruit claimed by the jungle. Bahia Luz, a small town located in the Colombian Pacific, wakes up and falls asleep between the sea and the jungle, where there was not another choice but living from fishing and the product that Mother Nature can provide. It was not 6 in the afternoon, and Mrs. Maya pushed from the deep of her being, prostrated in a wooden bed made by herself and her husband Eusebio Prieto, at the time in which they were devoted to the illegal logging and the business of cut down and sandwood were so good that Eusebio and Maya did not care for the whole damage that they have been causing to the jungle for many years in exchange of money. Mr. Eusebio weighed with happiness the birth of his 2 twin children that became him in father for first time. His euphoria was enough that he did not care about the delivery pain that Maya was feeling. Pain controlled with natural medicines that they learned to do with the jungle plants. 3 hours passed when around 9 in the night, Mrs. Maya gave birth. The weeping of Juan Francisco made smile everyone. He was the first to be born, but Juan Miguel, the second twin, had a surprise. And Mrs. Maya, filled of strength, pushed, expressing her gratitude to God. Suddenly, Maya's sister and Eusebio were stunned when they saw Juan Miguel. Then, with great despair, Maya asked, "He's dead?" "No," answered her sister. "He's alive and well. Simply, the little Miguel looked at me fixedly and he has not cried." 4 years later, it was no wonder Miguel behaved, when he usually spent hours just observing the jungle breed, as if it has a language that allowed him to understand what the earth felt. On the other hand, Francisco normally rests in a hammock in the courtyard of his house after having run along the beach and the first meters of the jungle. Years later, the twins continued with their same role. Francisco was responsible to do the housework. He behaved as a normal person and he enjoyed going fishing with his father. Meanwhile, Miguel continued spending his time observing for days and nights a strange light among the trees that the jungle received when the sun prostrated on the opposite side, where his eyes seemed to be a mirror of the mysticism of his interest. One day in a dawn, Francisco shouted desperately to his parents, "Miguel is not here! Miguel is not here!" There was no place in which Miguel's family has not looked for him. For all the jungle he was sought, but never had a sign of him. In that day, before the dawn, Miguel had decided to meet with a light that caught his attention for days and nights. He went into the deep of the jungle and walked through that until there was no light. Juan Miguel never cried, never got inside the sea. Eusebio and Maya's son, the jungle took him. The jungle claimed him. This time were not Mr. Eusebio and Mrs. Maya snatching the fruit of the jungle. This time was the jungle snatching the fruit that they plucked, fruit that never cried.